Sometimes as pastors, we make people feel that some work are secular, some type of work are what? Spiritual. And so when you're in the workplace, they make you feel that you're not spiritual enough. And sometimes, if you cannot make some meetings because you are at work, they bring you under what? The burden of what? Condemnation. One of my favorite messages I preach in the workplace is the Joseph and the Moses ministries. So when we think about Joseph, what was Joseph's work? He was prime minister. Joseph was performing an economic miracle. Joseph helped Egypt to survive 7 years of famine. Joseph was in the palace. Joseph was serving corns. That's what he was serving, corns. Was God involved in this? Yes. Because it was God that gave Joseph what? The revelation. Oh. So is this work spiritual? It is. Because it was through this work that God preserved the Israelites. So if Joseph was not in the palace, the Israelites would have been what? Consumed. Imagine Joseph, a Hebrew person, in the palace of Pharaoh with all the gods. And yet Joseph maintained his stand. There's a reason. You know what has happened to the church? Two things. First, we thought work was not important. So we left it in the hands of who? Unbelievers. And when we graduate from school, after we've served God, preached and done in tongues, we'll go and write, I beg to what? Apply. And if you're a pretty lady, woe betide you. The unbeliever will not say some things for you to get this job and the rest. Now you're under a lot of pressure because we left it in the hands of unbelievers. The tendency is for us to think that Moses' ministry is more important than that of Joseph. You know what I say to people? If Joseph was not in the palace, Moses would not have been born because his generation would have perished in famine. So Joseph made what? Moses possible. Your spirituality is not defined by the type of work you do. It's defined by the personal relationship that you have with God. So when I say type of work, somebody will say, am I saying that a prostitute? No, of course, you know what I mean. So Moses is no more spiritual. Thank God for what God did with him. That was God's call for his life. And let me say this. If you're Joseph, you'll be comfortable in the palace. If you're Moses, the palace will not be what? Comfortable for you. Don't force yourself. Why not celebrate the fact that you're Joseph? You're Joseph in oil and gas. You're Joseph in the beverage industry. Why not celebrate the fact that you're Joseph in the hospital? If you read the scripture, Eli, priest, God had an issue with Eli. Eli was supposed to be spiritual, but he was not. Why? There are people like with Joseph that served God faithfully. Take the case of Daniel. Daniel served God where? In Babylon. Was Daniel spiritual? Very spiritual. Wrote a whole book that talked about even the Messiah, his coming, and the rest. Daniel was serving God in Babylon, but he was spiritual. Your spirituality is not defined by I work in the church. You find that you work in the church doesn't mean you know God more than me. Oh. Don't be deceived by that. I work in the church. I'm a full-time. It means nothing. You can be F-U-L-L, full-time, but you're fooling yourself in that time. There's no sense of commitment. There's no attitude to work. You're just playing and you say you're in full time. Don't let anybody put you under a yoke of bondage. Your spirituality is not defined in quotes by the type of work. It's defined by your personal relationship with God. And even in Babylon, a man like Daniel had revelations. Look at Nehemiah, was in the king's court, but his heart was in Israel. And we built the walls. And there's a book in his name, Esther. There's a book in her name. They were not priests, but they served God with their office, through their work.